Here we are.
Hi,
Hello,
everybody.
Althea.
Hello. For those of you who don't know, I'm Tavel, and this is Dotan, and we are the founders of Galactic Federation of Light Apparel, a clothing company designed for conscious people, awakened people, light workers, and star seeds, and representing them in the fashion community. And we are so honored and lucky to work with people like Althea who are really making a change in the community as well.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, for connecting, and for doing what you guys do, really, because like we here at the forefront of the ascension and awakening process, and we really are all trying to harness our best skills so that we can assist in the best possible way the collective.
That's exactly how we feel, because it's harnessing our skills of making garments, and making garments not for the fashion world, which is like, fast fashion, changing fashion. We're doing things that will last, that will actually help you elevate your consciousness, your aura, your frequency, kind of like a support for your system. So here we are, each doing his little bit for the collective consciousness just to rise up. And things are happening out there, don't they?
Definitely. There's definitely been a lot going on. There's definitely been a lot going on. And it's been a big start to the new year. I always find that when one year ends, so around like December time, and I saw this a lot this year as well, it's almost like there's a lot of residual energy that needs to be let go of, but people are so busy in the 3D with like, moving and organizing and seeing family members and just like very, very busy with like, tangible, pragmatic things in the 3D that when the codes come in, there's a bit of a struggle to integrate. And most of the integration actually starts happening in January, because that's when people are able to actually like take a step back from like, the duties or, the busyness of the holiday, and be like, oh, actually, this is happening, this is going on. And I saw this, especially the first week of January, the astral was very, very, very active. A lot of people were integrating a lot of codes. There was a very big release, also energetically, of souls wanting to be transmuted. So there was quite a lot of psychic attacks that were coming through in the astral for a lot of people. So that was quite interesting to see. There was a lot of shift in that aspect as well.
Well, we kind of felt it on a physical level here in LA, where we are. So everything that happened, as weird as it just all just happened, and but the feeling, that the all over feeling that we all left with, on so many levels, we feel purified. And we look at ourselves, lost our home, lost everything. But then there's a feeling of purification through that process. And then the beauty of people coming together, supporting each other. How in times of need, you really see that people are amazing. Mankind are amazing. They're just there, and they give their heart. And that was a beautiful thing to see as part of what's happening. As you're saying, people are so busy end of the year. I guess Gaia was busy the end of the year as well, December. And then January comes, okay, let's shake things, let's shake things together.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because definitely, like, Gaia's also clearing her own karma. The earth is also clearing in her own way. And I think this is what I channeled and I shared recently as well with regards to the fires, that there was an old grid that was present that needed clearing. It needed to be, yeah, purified, cleared, released, karmically neutralized, whatever way you want to say it, in order for the new grid, which is present on the organic timeline, in order for that one to activate. And that's happening with the people coming together in union, bringing the light, bringing the love, you know, connecting, accepting, and letting go of what didn't serve them anymore, which was obviously being, you know, purified and cleared by the fire. I think it was a very big ego death for a lot of people. And a lot of people, you know, and the harder it is, the more they were holding on, the more they needed for what it was, you know, to be purified and to be cleared. So without obviously spiritually bypassing anyone or anything, like, you know, we want to be as empathetic and as present as possible with everything that's going on. But in my opinion, from an energetic perspective, like in the long run, you know, this is a good thing for the earth and for the karma of the earth and for humanity, because it puts us on a clean slate and it allows us to anchor in a high vibrational frequency timeline within the grid that is organic and that is going to take us closer to a high vibrational frequency baseline within the ascension process.
And for people who have gone through difficult times like this, where, you know, it might feel like a tower card moment where everything sort of crumbles and they are finding themselves at the base having to rebuild spiritually, how do people navigate through that without not being too attached to the 3D, but also like acknowledging and like holding that space for like, okay, this is like what we lost, but like this is how we come back stronger?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would say with gratitude, even though it's hard, like I would work with gratitude. In my personal experience, I mean, this was like 4 or 5 years ago. I was in a space where I lost everything. I was in a lot of debt financially. I had no job. I was in an emotionally and physically abusive relationship. I was pregnant and I had nothing to my name. I owed money to so many people. And I learned to understand that that was my challenge and what I had to navigate and go through. Like, yes, I still had like a roof over my head and food. Like I still had, you know, food on my plate and a bed to sleep in, but that's about as much as all as I had, you know. And working through the gratitude for the experience, I think when you're able to be happy with nothing, that's when you're able to attract everything, because then you anchor into this space of gratitude. And I think, yeah, this is what they're sending me now. What they're showing me is a lot of the people who've had this experience, they needed their heart chakra to be more open. And how does it open? With grief, with pain, with releasing this attachment. It cracks your heart open so then you can hold more love, you can have more empathy, you can be more in compassion, you can be more in gratitude, you know. And that's the lesson they chose to navigate at this moment in time within this experience.
They say that grief is one of the most transformational like feelings that a person can go through. And like what you just said, you kind of have to break your heart to break it open. And I always find that like in moments of grief is where my life sort of like propels in like a certain direction. And I think that that's so interesting and such you would think that at the happiest moments, your life sort of goes off and you're always like thinking, when I get this, then this will happen. And when I achieve this, then this will happen. But it's actually in the moments where it's not so much a lack, but like, you know, in those moments of grief and sadness and aching, is where transformation comes from. Not all, but some, you know, powerful ones.
Yeah, for sure. And
Beautiful.
it's, yeah.
Beautifully. Like you're so right about it. Like, wow. Those are the moments where you use the power inside to actually as a spring, you know, that pain, that everything that you go through becomes a spring for you to elevate yourself. Don't you think so, Althea?
Yeah, and I think grief is a complex emotion because it's a mixture of, you know, sadness and anger and guilt and regret, and you know, and I think that's why it can work so well, because it's very complex. And I think from an energetic perspective, whenever you have that grief or that loss or that, it's kind of like, if anyone's been, like when you go through your first breakups, or like when you break up from a partner that you thought there was this expectation that you had maybe this life going forward together, and then this break occurs, it's like a huge ego death. And what happens is that if you weren't happy within yourself before that, it's almost like your happiness gets taken away from you because you are relying on an external person or house or whatever to give you happiness, and so once that gets taken away from you, you're left with a void, and then you need to learn to fill the void. If you learn the lesson, you fill it with self-love. If not, then you'll find something else to attach until the universe will remove that from you and then put you through the lesson again.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
You just broke down my life in like a sentence. Sorry. That's crazy. I'm so sorry. Continue.
No, but that's how it works, and I learned through my own experience as well, especially as you start learning in unions and in relationships and whatnot. And then it gets a little bit easier and a little bit easier and a little bit easier until you learn the lesson. You're like, oh, actually, yeah, I'm very whole by myself. And if this person or this thing is here, great, it can add value and make me happy. But if it's not there, I'm still going to be happy and aligned and grounded within myself. Something I always do to check in with myself if I have like an unhealthy attachment to something is like, if this gets taken away from me tomorrow, and it can be even my job, hey, or like my computer or whatever, am I still going to be happy? Am I still going to be fulfilled? Am I still going to be a good human, If the answer is yes, great, I don't have an unhealthy attachment. If the answer is no, then I need to recalibrate and check myself. Be like, oh, actually, maybe let's stay like a few days without looking at the phone, or maybe let's not go to gym for like a few days, or maybe let's not eat the sugars for a little bit, so that you remain in balance with whatever that experience or that thing is, and it doesn't take any power over you, because it's about power. It's about taking your power back to yourself and you being in control of your life.
Yeah.
That's like for me, what basically what you're saying is we always need to look at ourselves and look at our life and see where are those attachments, and where in those attachments we kind of like limit ourselves, because those are our limitations. This is what limits us from really loving and accepting ourselves completely. And it comes with the little things, kind of like what you said, like even the sugar or whatever it is that you need to make yourself feel a certain way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And obviously there's healthy attachments, like, like your partner or your children or your dog, or what I mean? Like there's healthy attachments, but when it's something that, and I find that it's a problem when it stops you from like, being happy or enjoying something or living your life to the fullest, then oh, there's an attachment here that isn't healthy. So it's just really self-assessment, and just like, being mindful and aware, and understanding that where you are now in your life is a byproduct of the decisions that you've taken in your past. So if you want something to change, then you need to make different decisions. And what's happening around you is a manifestation of what's going on inside you. So on some level, there's been some karmic contractual agreement for you to navigate through what you're navigating through at every moment in time.
Yeah, so I'm looking at what we went through, and it's amazing how happy we still feel with all the loss. And you've been to our place, and you saw the art and the furniture and all the stuff that we had that kind of defined who we are at that moment, at least. And then everything is gone. And then my thought was, wow, everything is gone. And it's an opportunity. It's kind of opportunity for me and Maya, to create again. because we were the creator of that, right? We created that thing, and we can create it again. Different, obviously it will be different because we are different, but it's such an opportunity. So zero attachment to what was there.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds beautiful. Sounds like there wasn't
It's not,
much lesson there for you.
it sounds great, you know, zero attachment. Then again, there's obviously a learning cycle here for us of how we do it, and where do we come from, where do we come for, on how we do that. So this is a whole new learning for us.
So what I find, this is what's coming through to me now. So we had quite an intense experience many years ago as well. We had people break in and steal our safe. And there was stuff in there that was from my great grandmother, like family heirlooms, jewelry that had been in my family for generations and generations and generations, you know, like it's still quite painful to think about. But what I was told was that some of these objects were carrying karma that I couldn't take with me where I was going in the direction, you know. And when the universe removes from one side, it will give from another side. So that was removed, but after that, there was like so much more abundance coming to our family from other directions. So there always needs to be balance, you know. So when it gets taken away, if like you said, you know, you let it go like gracefully, okay, I don't have attachment, then you're opening up to the opportunity of what is new that can come in, that needs to come in for you, you know, to move forward.
Yeah. You know, they say that in Kabbalah, fire represents, again, like purification and a new beginning, a new start. Like something is gonna, you know, how always after fires, the rain comes and the greenery starts, and you pass by this place a year after, it's like, wow, everything is coming to life again, right? It's amazing. And I feel the same thing is gonna happen to LA, to the people that went through that. Something new, amazing, green, luscious will come out of that thing.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Yeah, definitely. It feels really good to hold that vision.
And you spoke earlier about, you know, the grid of LA sort of needing to be cleared. Can you explain a little bit what a grid is and what grid work is? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So for those of you who will be coming to the Conscious Life Expo in February, I'm holding a whole workshop on ley lines and grid work, and kind of like what this is and how we can in our own way assist the planet. So there's different grids, and basically, like, if you imagine the ley lines, so which is the energetic lines that go across the earth, where the ley lines cross, there's portals of energy, and energy that opens and comes and goes through, and then you'll have your grid. So if you imagine how it looks like, it can look either like an icosahedron or a dodecahedron, which is like a 3D geometric shape. And if you imagine that kind of like around the earth, you can imagine these lines going around the earth and connecting with the ley lines as well. These lines carry ancestral wisdom, they carry information, they carry codes, they carry light. And some of them are dormant and inactive, and they need to be reactivated so the planet can ascend. Some of them are already active, some of them are active but anchored in inorganic timelines, which is what was going on now in LA. So it's kind of like this fire was able to purify, clear, and neutralize in order for now the people to come in, and the love and the rebuilding, exactly like Dotan was saying, so that this ley line and this grid can be reactivated, and put us in a high vibrational frequency space. And there's a lot of different ways that this can happen. Like sometimes, you know, you go on sacred sites and, you know, you can do like meditations, or when a group of people come together and meditate, they can activate part of the grid and part of the ley lines. different cities have different grids, different countries have different grids. It's quite complex. So I go into a lot more detail with regards to this when I speak about it, when I'll be speaking about it at the expo. But basically, yeah, it's just activating these parts that are present on different dimensional densities, but anchored in the here and in the now and to the planet as well.
So is it kind of like the DNA of Gaia, because you said they hold wisdom, generational wisdom, sort of like our DNA, and it can be activated or, not as activated, like not as active. Is it kind of like
Good way of seeing it? I would say it's more like a record of information. So yeah, I guess DNA, I see more DNA as a creator of life. This is more something that is already there, but that is holding information basically.
very cool?
It's interesting.
And having done so much grid work in your time, like as a profession, is there a time or like an experience that you had that really like left a mark on you in terms of like working with the grid or like doing grid work in general? Anything that you felt in a specific place or something like a meditation you guys did together or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, there's many of them, but what I can say is very interesting, and it'll be very exciting when I anchor now physically in LA, because the first time you anchor physically in a place, like you'll feel the grid in a certain way, and then the second in another way, and the third time in it. So every time you anchor, you'll feel it differently, and you'll have to do different things within it. So it'll be interesting for me to, when I land, to actually see how I feel. So like, for example, last year I was in Milan and I anchored into the grid and I did work and I was like, oh, okay. This year when I anchored into the grid, I literally almost felt sick. I was like, okay, like this is like very, 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 I felt like already Europe was dense last year. This year was even denser. But then again, I had anchored into the London grid the year before and I was fine. And then I anchored again into the London grid this year and that felt better actually than the grid in Milano, which is more kind of like, I guess, in the center of Europe. So it's always very different. I would say that, I mean, I was in a very special grid when I was staying here in South Africa in a few different locations and sites that I worked on. Like this one time, I literally had this huge spaceship like come on top of me, like it was cloaked, but it was there. And I was with a colleague and we just sat and we started like a meditation, and all of a sudden, like all the crickets stopped cricketing, the birds stopped chirping, that everything went dead silent. Like there was her partner that was like standing like a little bit for like we all froze and like looked at each other and opened our eyes, and then we kind of like looked up, and she also has vision, so we could also see through that there was this huge like discoidal spaceship on top of us that was kind of like hiding, but there that they we and we didn't know like we understood each other telepathically, but we didn't know what to say or talk, or we were like, so we looked around a little bit and we then waited and we carried on like with the meditation, but everything was so, this is now like in the middle of a sacred site in the middle of nowhere. We've walked like 1 hour in like the savannah sort of thing, not where there's lions, but it's like in the hills of the mountains of South Africa. Like it wasn't like, there was and yeah, and then they told us that they just came to see what we were doing. They wanted to check up, they wanted to see because they know the site and they know there's energy there, and they didn't really interrupt our process or whatnot, but we were very aware that they were there, and they were very aware that we were there as well. So that was quite a special one that I had. Yeah.
That's interesting. Tell me something, kind of like Milan, where you said it's chaotic with the grid over there. Have you been to places and grids where like there's a resistance, like you cannot do any work, nothing that you will do will influence what's happening?
No, not yet. I
Doesn't
haven't.
exist.
Well,
Or
I don't know if it doesn't exist. I haven't experienced it. Yeah. I haven't been everywhere I go, there's always something that can be done, whether it's in the astral space, whether it's even just me like helping one person or doing some charity work, or, like in Costa Rica, it was so incredible because I anchored into this forest down in Uvita down south, and I spoke to these beings that, like, I don't know if you've seen Lord of the Rings.
We've seen,
20
Yeah.
times.
Well, some people haven't. So the trees, like literally the trees, the forest of Fangorn, like
Yes.
I spoke to beings like that when I was in Costa Rica, and I was like, oh, obviously Tolkien like had channeled something, like had been here, or but there were beings that I had never seen anywhere else, that don't exist anywhere else on the planet, that had been there for like centuries and eons, and they literally looked like the trees from the forest of Fangorn in Lord of There's no better way that I can describe it. So I thought that was quite a beautiful grid that I was able to anchor and tune in and see there as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. That happened in Costa Rica. So where grid lines meet, are there better chances for portals to happen?
Well, where ley lines cross, so the grid is more like all of the complex together of where they cross, where there's portals, where there's also like sometimes there's been wars or like fires or things that cleanse, and then the grid kind of like is anchored within the whole sort of like area, if it makes sense. But where the ley lines cross, there's pockets of energy portals that open. So when there's like important astrological events or numerology, like, I don't know, 11/11 or 12/12, the portal will be more open. So there'll be more energy that's coming and going in that aspect as well. And so then you can actually harness and use the energy in a positive way. So it's very complex. Like, it's not just, like black or white or one thing or another. It's like, it's even for me, like it's a work in progress because I'm learning as I'm going, and I think all the grid workers out there, we all have our own way of working. We all end up with the similar results, but we all work differently. Some work
Right.
more like with candles. So for me, for example, when I'm doing energetic work on a grid, my whole body opens up, my whole body becomes one big chakra system. It becomes one big funnel of light. I pull in the light, I anchor it in, and then through me, it anchors into the earth, and it goes where it's supposed to go, to the people, to the earth, to the grid, to the place, or whatever. Other people, they open portals and they make portals, and then they have the energy come in through the portals. Some work with numbers, some like work with, like, the four quarters. They'll physically draw geometric patterns on the floor and then have energy come into that. So it's a little bit different how everyone does this process. It's mainly intuitive. There's no like book, like I'm probably the best book, and who else is doing this is also the best book to explain it, and I'm sure there's been books that have been written on it, but it's not like a science, it's something that we learning and discovering as we moving forward.
And lastly, since like what is the role or Ascension update with the GFL right now as to where we're at 2025, like the new year, the energy is present, any messages?
Yeah, so what I've been saying since last year as well, there's going to be a lot more energy workers going in mainstream media. So there's going to be more coming to the forefront of like the media. I do feel like there is going to be some level of deception. So it's really important for people to just use their own discernment and be mindful as to, what they choose to listen to. There's a lot of information that is being funneled through distorted filtered lenses of the lower tiers of the fourth dimensional density. So what is happening is for an energy worker to be in integrity and to channel from a space of purity, there needs to have been a certain degree of heart opening and a certain level of work done, because the channel needs to come from here. A lot of people are channeling from here. What happens when you're channeling from here is you can channel really great information, but there can leave for a level of distortion. So we living in the 3D, which is overlaps to the 4D and the 5D, they're all kind of like overlapped, but your 4D will have different tiers. So your lower astral space will be where there is sometimes, you know, deceptions, co-creations of reality, distortion. So if you're channeling from here and you haven't done the work here, you're most probably going to be channeling from this place here. And this place here is where there can be distortion and deception. So we're going to be seeing people doing this, but we're also going to be seeing people who are able to go through this channel from the heart and then channel from here. And that's where you get your purity and, you know, your information that is a lot in alignment. So just really being mindful moving forward of what you choose to believe, and remember that every individual, even me, every channeler, we all have our own belief systems, and it doesn't matter how much you choose to be in a space of non-attachment and compassion and take a step back, we're still human. So no one is you, no one is living your experience. So I always try to always empower everyone. Like, even if something that I say doesn't resonate, like, that's okay. You know what I mean? We all different humans. So it's really like this coming back to sovereignty, and coming back to looking inward for answers and not outward. I think there's a very big, you know, I think channeling is beautiful. It's amazing. Light language is great. Getting information is wonderful. But when you're looking for so many answers outside of you, you tend to forget, you know, that you have all the answers within you anyway. So it's just really humanity moving into finding more of that balance.
Beautiful. And how would you recommend to people to find the answers inside of them? Is there certain rituals you suggest for people to find a way to get closer to themselves, find a way to anchor themselves within?
Yeah, just ground. Anything creative that grounds you, anything that brings you joy and happiness like it brought you when you were a child. Following the childlike happiness and carefree and joy. Also working with gratitude, working with compassion, working with patience, working with all these high vibrational frequency emotions. But I would say even something as simple as sitting down and journaling, you know, writing down about your day and, you know, being grateful for your day, or coming and staying present in the now. Because when we're too busy worrying about the past or the future, we're not anchored in the now. And so it's very difficult for us to anchor into our intuition, our claircognizance, and our knowing, or even listen and receive the messages from our guides, because we're too busy worrying about the past or the future. But when we present in the now, like, we are rebirthing ourselves in every single moment. And so every single moment we have a choice. Do we want to step into a timeline that is for our highest alignment, or do we want to carry down the direction that looks easiest, you know? And you know within yourself, within your integrity, what direction you're supposed to go down, you know, there's no right or wrong, but what is the more aligned choice, you know? Because I don't like saying there's wrongs, it's only lessons. If something doesn't go the way you want it to go, then, you know, you just make a different choice and decision the next time. But yeah, I would say very much grounding. And for me as an energy worker in what I do, I teach a lot of grounding techniques of just staying present. I work a lot with the body. I really emphasize the importance of everything rising together, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, the emotional. You can meditate 7 hours a day, but if you're putting junk food in your body and you're not exercising, then you're not really going to get very far, you know?
Yeah. So you're saying it's a combination of things but I love what you said about what did you like to do as a kid? Because,
Yeah,
you know, those are your basic, those are the original instincts that you were born with. What is it that you love to do? Did you love running? Did you love playing in the sand? Did you love
yeah,
the ocean? Did you love, you know, hiking and sitting on top of mountains? Did you like climbing trees?
exactly that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
What did you like, Devel?
Well, I feel like mine sound bad, but I loved music and I loved movies like so much. I remember I would sit in front and then like rewatch them over and over and over again. Um, what did I love to do? I love to like play and like be in my imagination. I feel like I was always elsewhere and like rarely like here. I was just always in my head and like I loved everything girly. Everything girly pop princess was me with like the sparkles giving me all of that. That was me as a kid, for sure.
That's so cute.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we ground and do some like light language to
Do a little bit of light language and we'll see what comes through. So yeah, you can start by closing your eyes and anchoring into the body. As you find your comfortable breathing rhythm, with every inhale, you breathe in light. And with every exhale, you release all that doesn't serve you anymore. As you relax the body system and energy field, you stay in a space of openness and oneness. And as we call on the Archangelic Collective, Michael to the south, Uriel to the north, Raphael to the east, and Gabriel to the west, we call on Archangel Metatron with his blue cloak of protection from above and sound of one to seal the grid from below. So we call on our higher selves of spirit guides and anyone else who wishes to be present for the greatest and highest good. You're welcome in this space. Shunukuraya tre 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 tra seyu kukut katkraya shiana takra. Treate korokorokurayo. Opening, 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 opening systems. Opening, opening, opening. Rache kokokoro ishietaka. Triate kakoro kotskia sesei ato na 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 iashera yeta korokoro triate ratre ero kora isirata grounding grounding. Anchoring, grounding, anchoring, clean, releasing, 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 opening, releasing, opening, releasing, opening, 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 clean, releasing, 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 letting go, letting go. Ra 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 chkiera te ora isera ishera yata karat kiera tara. Tre na io na io tashera ese korokot kat kreat kre aseya sera ishia. Kiate karo korokor rasia siero korokoro kiara rasie sarasiera tarat shero korokoro ishetaka. Treate korokoro isie sara isiero to koro tre asiera takra. Treate korokora yasie soro korokoro ishera ya tre a ia te o yo na tashera yataka. Kurukura takarakasi ese kuku krai 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 krate shetaka. Terra tre aseo kuku kratre ya te to 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 ta 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 ta. Tada tre 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 te yo na 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 ya te ta 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 to to to. Tu shit carra ya sierra tara tra tra trai 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 a tre a tre a tre a tre a tre se korokot kra yo yo yo. Releasing, releasing, opening, releasing, opening, opening, opening. Rat, chiara, tre, 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 cat, cot, cot, coro. Trai, na, hai, shieta, cara, ia, sera, tra. Scura, trea, trea, craia, trea, sia, tacaro, coco, 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 caia, shera, yatara. Na, no, ishera, taka. Ke rokot krasia seya sesek aroko kakre achkiera taratra. Tre at crea sie ya te iero korokot kia ishieta tre ro ua isieta ka. Tra niana rea te kia te shiet ko krasie sara ishia. Tria tre na da na ta tra tre tra tro ora isie sara ia shira ya tra clean releasing releasing opening releasing Grounding, grounding, anchoring, grounding, anchoring, 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 anchoring. Nya, 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 karo kot koraya siesara. Tre ndahai shit kahai shit asya sheharia tarakrat karai shirayatra. Treat kre orororo clean releasing yo 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 na 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 nya krokok ora isera takra. Torokora ya sera yatra trea trea tre korokora isera yatra nia na isera yatra. Nyo koraya re ro raya te kakakakakaka ria 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 siat kara ishena taka. Roi yo 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 na ya se asie koroko shera tara trea tere keto korokoro. Releasing, 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 anchoring, 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 tuning, 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 closing, sealing, closing, sealing, sealing, closing, sealing, closing, closing, sealing, closing, sealing, closing, closing, sealing, closing, sealing, sealing, closing, sealing, closing, anchoring, sealing, closing, anchoring, anchoring, grounding, 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 anchoring, anchoring, neo, rat kuro 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 ya ti na 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 I o raya sieta cara ishe ataka. Rock o na ia ishera triathlon releasing you yo na res crua ishera crua ishera You can gently start coming back into the body. And grounding back into the now, the present moment. Whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes, or you're welcome to stay in process. Guys, for those of you who are watching, you can stay in process a little bit longer and just be in touch with your body and system and whatever's coming through. How are you guys feeling?
I had a few zips.
Electricity.
Yeah, feeling great. Feeling good. Thank you.
Yeah. I think for me, it was like, I noticed how much tension and like how much I'm like holding on, and then it would be like, and then like a couple minutes later, I would like do it again and then be like, so weird. But
And there's been a very, yeah, this is worth a mention. There's been a very big energetic womb clearing for the collective. So obviously women have like, you know, the physical womb, but men also have like an energetic womb. So there's been a lot of clearing within like the lower abdomen and the sacral chakra that's been going on for about like since the full moon. So maybe like about a week or so. That's been happening. So if you guys do feel like stuff clearing in that area, that's also, you know, what's been going on as well. And for the collective and everyone who's watching too.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
so Althea, tell us about a little bit about Bali. You said you're gonna be doing a retreat there.
Very excited. Very excited. I'm doing a trip, a retreat in Bali from the 13th to the 19th of September. I have a special launch price. There's a few slots left and like an early bird discount. It's going to be 6 nights, 7 days. We're going to be doing so much. We're going to be meeting with like local shamanic practitioners. It's going to be sound healing. I'll be doing light language. I'll be working with Hape. We'll be actually working on clearing ancestral lineage timelines. So matriarchal, patriarchal side, traumas. We're going to be doing a lot of trauma release as well. So it's very exciting. I just recently ran the Costa Rica retreat in November, and this was the place where I was called to, you know, now anchor and do this one this coming year. So I've got that's coming up. You can find me obviously at the Conscious Life Expo. You know, well, all of us, you can find all of us there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The place to be.
The place to be, yeah, exactly. My workshop is going to be Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Where I'll be speaking about ley lines, grid work, and I'll be doing some light language clearing. I will be taking one-on-ones as well when I'm in LA. So please contact me. Or I'm going to leave on my YouTube all the info below, the GFL guys info, my email, website, and all of that. I'm going to be in New York next week. I'll be holding a workshop and taking one-on-ones there as well. So just before the Expo, I'll be in New York City. And yeah, I've got like a few things coming up. I've still got my 6-week program available, my 6-month program. I will be holding a psychic protection workshop in April, and I'm also holding a channeling masterclass in April. So all of that, you can find tickets for that on my website. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it from my side. And yeah, if you guys want to share also from your side.
I just want to say that if anybody, you know, wants to help people who have been affected by the LA wildfires, we're doing a campaign called Rise from the Ashes, where every item that's purchased, we'll match it with an item and donate it to somebody in need. If you use the code LA Wildfire Support. So if you guys feel aligned and called to do that, we would love to help people on your behalf.
Yeah, and I just quickly want to add that like your clothes are literally like the best clothes, especially like for me, like I use them so much when I'm traveling because I feel like they literally grid me and they keep me safe from psychic attacks, because when you travel, it's one of the times where you can actually be most vulnerable. So I get so guided to, like, when I'm traveling like intercontinentally, literally like traveling the planet, your clothes like keep me gridded and protected. So like I'm the living example that, you know, they really come from a space of love, and nothing that I have worn ever in my life comes close to the frequency of what you guys make. So whatever you're making, like the heart is in it. Do you know what I mean? Like it is felt. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We do that from the heart, and you know, people feel it, people get it, and that's all we want. We want people to feel the love and the passion and what we put into the garment, because it's there to protect and to elevate people.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it does.
And if you guys want to come feel the fabric, feel it and see it, and you know, feel the quality, everything is made here in LA, come see us at the Conscious Life Expo. Also, we photonically charge all of our clothing with technology made by Arcturus Raw. Did you know that?
I didn't. I've met Arcturus though. I met him. I think we sat to the same panel last year at the Expo, but I didn't know you. Well, I mean, I knew there was like energy and magic going into them. I didn't know what exactly you were doing, but I knew there was something behind.
Yeah.
I thought you were using frequency. Yeah.
He built us a charger, a garment charger, where we put our clothing on it, and it like photonically embeds the clothing with energy and light energy and light particles, which is so cool. And people feel it like when they wear it, they're like, oh my God, like tingly, and like just it's so subtle, but like there's a shift, you know? It's really cool. Yeah. Beautiful, you guys. Well, we're excited to see you in February and give you a big hug and meet everybody. And yeah, we love doing this with you.
Amazing. Okay, thank you guys.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And we are going to go live on Instagram as well in a few days. So if you guys, you must follow us. We're going to leave all the links below here. And yeah, take care, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.